Hey friends, Sam here again with you at Harvey Cat Homestead. Today I want to show you a video of how exactly I got our rabbitry redone. I'm so excited about these hanging cages. So the cages are already built, but in this video I show you how we get the framing up and how we get the cages up. So here you go. So here I've got this sped up, obviously, because otherwise this would take the entire day. This was a full 2 days of work, but we're kind of figuring out exactly where things need to go. I'm really grateful that Michael helped me. I just straight up couldn't have done this alone. So we are determining that I want to say it was around 42 inches down from the top was where we were going to put that post. It was not really a post. I want to say it's a 2x6. And we were going to, it took us a while to decide exactly how we were going to do this, but we decided that we were going to, we were clearly having some disagreements in terms of figuring out how to do things. Because I was thinking that we were going to place it on the face of the metal. I don't know why we kept measuring this. Like the board, I think no, we did need to cut the board. We did actually need to cut the board. So we wanted it to be the exact measurement of the space there. So got the chop saw ready. I'm very grateful that Michael's dad lets us use his chop saw. That made the entire project much easier, as it does with pretty much every wood project. We should probably just invest in a new one. He also ended up using his dad's impact driver, I believe, because drilling holes in metal is tricky. You're not drilling through something. You have to kind of move all the material aside, which is why it took so long for us to get these in place. We just decided to clamp them in place with our larger, I don't know what kind of clamps those are. All I know is that they came from Harbor Freight, and they're kind of too small to use for a lot of projects. But yeah, it takes him a very long time to drill through. I feel like half of this day was just Michael pushing on that drill, trying to get it through the metal. I feel like I'm doing absolutely nothing over there. I'm just there for moral support. That's hilarious. So going back and forth, getting tools, realizing we need something, realizing we don't have everything out here. I don't know if you've ever done any home improvement projects, but it seems like that's just generally how it goes. I'm grateful we didn't have to go back to Lowe's Hardware because we do live 30 minutes away from Lowe's Hardware. So we did have everything on site that we needed. I'm going to drop a list below just so that you know exactly what we needed. Obviously, we have this wood that's going along the cages, like the back of the cage is going to be drilled into that. Obviously, you will get more detail as that occurs. I can't remember the length of the screws that Michael used, but they were specifically wood to metal or metal to wood screws to get, obviously, the supports for the lean-to attached to the wood. And they were at least 2 inches long. I can't remember if they were more than that. I didn't buy those screws. I think we already had them. I think Michael already had them. That's the other thing about these projects is you kind of accumulate stuff. You're regularly accumulating materials and tools and only using part of them, which is convenient because, you may need them again later, like we did with these screws here. So I'm very grateful, again, that my husband is willing to put up with me because he really did spend pretty much the entire day just trying to get those holes. At this point, yeah, I'm over here like, I'm going to start leveling this area out over here because we do end up putting another I want to say it was a 2x4 vertically. I'm so irritated. Why am I so irritated? The hands on the hips. I don't know, dude. It's really funny watching yourself back. Like, Michael's so chill and just like doing the things, and I'm over here like, ugh. Or at least that's my body language. I don't know. Do I seem ugh to you guys? You tell me. So we wanted to level this spot out. Michael was kind of frustrated because he wanted to use another metal post in that area, but we would have had to have gone and gotten it from somewhere. And this project was already taking so long. At this point, it's like 1 in the afternoon, and we had other stuff we needed to do that day. So we just settled for the wood, and I've got that little paver over there. Well, yeah, I'm making sure it's level because it is going to hold one of the posts that actually hold the cages up. So that's pretty important. Yeah. We've got a little speed square. That's what Michael was just using to mark where he's going to cut. It's funny to watch him line it up. He's very particular about lining it up. So what we're putting in now, wow, there's a bug or something on the camera. It was a very foggy day. It was really, really muggy and really foggy. But anyway, we're putting a brace up in the center of this space just for added stability. We had a hard time determining where it was going to sit because we would measure one thing and then Michael would be like, oh no, it needs to go here. And then I'd be like, but it has to line up with these other two boards. And he'd be like, what are you talking about? Like, he's so bad at visualizing things, which is so funny. I don't know. Again, I'm very grateful for the amount of work that he puts in because he certainly doesn't have to do it. He goes above and beyond for me, especially with all the rabbitry and homestead type of stuff. He's just so good. Yeah, sorry about the weird camera lights. That's strange to me. I'm not sure what was causing that. So we've got the brace up. He's getting it drilled into place. That was the easiest little spot. Obviously, as we go, we are making sure that everything is level, both vertically and horizontally. The larger your level is, the more accurate it's going to be, generally speaking. So this we're attaching to the faceplate that is already existing, like at the rafters, at the very bottom part of the rafters, and then also at the board that we had just put up. We did it along the back side of that board, just so that it wouldn't be in the way in terms of any of the cages that we needed to drill to the face of the board. And here we are back again, deciding the next move. Whole lot of chatting and deciding what to do next. I'm very grateful that we are able to work as a team and I can somehow figure out the words to use to actually make Michael understand what I mean. Doesn't always happen, but it happened in this instance. So there you go. Now hopefully you'll get a better view. This side, obviously we have to attach the top portion of it. The top. The edge, the 2x4 that we are going to use as a post kind of thing. So we're going to do that first, and then we are going to put another 2x6 up at the side. It's either a 2x6 or a 2x8. I actually think all of these might be 2x6s, including the board that we're working on right now. It's for stability's sake. And whenever we're drilling stuff into the wood, we are using decking screws, like wood to wood. We've got, I want to say they're around 2 inches that we're using. In this case, because it was just a 2-inch wide board to another 2-inch wide board, they're around 2 inches. Either way, I'll check the box and put it down in the description. I'm so not good. Like, carpentry is not something that I am inherently good at. All right, so here we are getting everything leveled, discussing which side of the metal we're going to put it on. Michael kept saying this side, and I was trying to explain, no, in order for it to actually go straight across, it needs to go this other way. If we had done it at the angle that he is trying to get me to do it at, it would not have gone straight. It would have been angled, which would have not been as good for the stability of the structure. So we end up doing what I recommend. And the poor man sits there with the drill again for hours. Oh, I'm so glad I get to fast forward through all this. Nobody wants to sit and watch this. Yeah, you can tell our cages are strong because we keep using them as a table. You see all the drills and stuff sitting on top of that. All right, so now that we've got that attached, I didn't show you all of the footage of him sitting there trying to get that in there. That was just ridiculous. So now we are working on getting this additional bracing in, just like the other side we did. We're going to do it over here too. And this this is a 10 by 12 structure. He's showing there how sturdy the thing is. Yes, they will hold Michael's weight, which is excellent because it's a lot more than a bunny weighs. Yep, getting all that drilled into place just like we did on the other side. And this is the finished product in terms of all of our framing getting up. You can see Michael did a little bit of additional bracing there up at the top that I didn't get recorded. All right, so here I've got all of the cages that we've made, and I am going to be putting them in place. I want to say this is around 40 feet of, it's basically like a swing set chain, and I'm going to use decking screws to get things in the top, and I have a 1.25-inch washer that's going to go on the outer edge of every screw to hold the chain onto the screw instead of using eyelets and using an additional piece of equipment to hold it in place. Like you could do like a carabiner or something, but if you were doing eyelets, but I wanted to keep it simple, and as I do, So, and this worked very well. I haven't had any problems yet, and this has been in place for just a couple weeks. So I'm measuring to make sure that this is going to actually fit, and I'm trying to decide where I want to put all of the chains. The cage that I'm going to chain up here, it's going to be attached to the back of that piece of wood as well, using those 1.25-inch washers and the 1 1/8 long decking screws. So those large washers will hold it firmly in place, and then the chains are going to be at the front of the cage just for additional support. And I want to say that this is a 4-foot long cage, but it's a double cage. There are 2 actual cages. I know it's 30 inches deep. And I want to say, you know what? That's what it is. Each of these individual cages are 30 by 36. So it's 30 inches long and then 30, oh my gosh. It is 36 inches wide, each of those cages, and then 30 inches deep. Here, I kind of have a hard time deciding how and when to level it out, but I'm also struggling to get the cage just kind of held up in place as I'm doing this. I keep getting my hat stuck on the cage doors. It's not a super easy process in terms of getting in and out of these things. But that's another reason that I make all of my cage doors very large, is just so that I can pretty much get in the thing. But I'm also not a very large person, so this could be very inconvenient depending on the person in question, I suppose. Anyway, so I'm getting all of those screwed in at the back. In terms of measuring, I wanted to make sure that corner, that I wasn't going to butt up against another cage in that corner and have a place that I couldn't actually get into the cage. So the corner ends up kind of being dead space, but it's not the end of the world. All right, so I've got on each cage, I have 3 different screws. I want to say each cage. That one double cage as a whole has 6 screws in the back with 6 washers holding it in place. And then I'm leveling it as I am getting the chains anchored to the cage itself. For that, I end up using hog rings. These are brass hog rings. This is something that we actually had that was sitting around. I'm not sure exactly where they came from, but I don't typically use them in other cage building situations because I cannot clamp them down as tightly as I do these smaller hog rings. Okay, so that one cage is in place, and now we are going to move over and work on our buck cages. So these are 30 by 30. They do have they still have the 1/2 inch by 1 inch bottoms, but they don't have like the little cape around the side. I will drop some information right here, like a card to the video where I made them, because I try to go into depth in terms of showing you exactly how I build cages in this video. And I hope it's helpful for you. Anyways, so here I am nearly falling off the ladder, as you do. In terms of chain placement, it's important to kind of have it cantilevered out just a little bit because it just adds a bit more pressure. I don't have any of these that are straight down. They all kind of come in or out. And that just allows you to have a bit more tension so that things can be, I mean, you want things taut. You don't want these cages like flopping around. You want them steadily in place. That being said, of course, it's not going to stand up when I put the drill inside of it. So it's a little trickier to do this by yourself. And I sort of did this in an order where I could have the chains up and use the chains to kind of help hold things in place as I was working. So yeah, and when I moved to this side, I decided on changing how I was going to attach the chains to the cages. I just kind of have them in the corner. It's not the very corner in terms of where the cage is set up. I wanted it kind of closer to the center, wherever it's hooking in, because the farther into those rungs of wires on the cage itself, the more stability you have. So I didn't go to the very edge in terms of where I was attaching the hog ring. And in that one spot, instead of a hog ring, I did end up using a tensioner that we purchased in order to put up our shade sail, which has still not gotten put up. But I'm kind of glad we didn't get put up because I needed the equipment for these. Because some of these cages the chains overlap just a little bit, it was kind of difficult to get the tension exactly right. So the tensioners helped a whole lot. They are just kind of open hooks on either side, so I don't know that I'm going to keep them in place permanently. I may end up changing that as I go, but it certainly helped me, even just in terms of holding things in place as I went. Yeah, so you saw me just flip that cage around. I almost put it in upside down. So if you're doing this, please slow down and make sure that you have your cage in the proper orientation. Like I said, the flooring on my cages here is 1 inch by 1/2 inch, but the remainder of the cage is 1 inch by 1 inch. So it would have been very problematic for some bunnies and their feet if I didn't get it put in properly. But I really enjoyed this project. It went by a lot quicker than I thought it would. I say that. This part went by quicker than I thought it would. I didn't really expect I didn't expect the framing to take the entire day, but that's kind of funny. You can sort of slowly see me getting extra sweaty. By the end of this video, I end up quite sweaty. If anybody works outside over here in central North Carolina, you understand. In August, it is hot and it is humid. And I will say it has been unusually cool for August, which I'm very grateful for. At this point, I'm kind of like, I don't really know exactly where I'm going to put this chain. I was trying to decide if I was going to overlap with the other chain or not. And I didn't really like the initial placement. So I want to say I end up changing it. I keep looking at it and thinking, no, I don't think so. But I do decide, it goes up anyway. Yeah, the most frustrating part of this whole process was getting in and out of the cages and making sure that they were staying up and maintaining level. And I'll tell you, it doesn't necessarily matter 100% using the level here. You kind of have to use a smaller level and sit it inside of the cage. But because all the cages are bowed, it's not exactly, because all the cages have a slight bow to them, it is not exactly perfect. in terms of maintaining level. So the bunnies don't mind as long as it's mostly level and they're not completely sliding to one end of the cage.
Hey, we're done. I'm so excited to be finished with this project. This has been very long awaited, I will say, because I have been kind of going nuts trying to keep my bunnies clean. So the reason I decided I wanted to do hanging cages is because the current setup that I have is wood, and then the cage sits directly on top of the wood, and it is impossible to keep clean. It's just impossible to keep clean. And I had one bunny come down with an obvious case of fur mites, which meant everybody got treated. And it is hot and it is humid here. But one of the best ways to prevent fur mites is keeping a very clean environment. And this is going to help with that. I haven't noticed any more issues with the fur mites. It's been about 6 weeks. And the way you treat that is every 10 days, you do a treatment of topical ivermectin, because it is a 10-day cycle for the female eggs to hatch. So if you do every 10 days, sorry, I'm sick. I know that's the thing about a homestead, is the projects are still here, whether you're sick or not. So anyway, every 10 days, just a few drops of topical ivermectin on the back of your neck. I do that because I don't like the idea of injections. I feel like topical treatment is like, there's just less that can go wrong. I like to keep things simple around here. So anyways, let me show you a little bit about the cages. This is actually a cage that we repurposed from a different area. And then these 3 individual cages, these are all new cages that I built. I can drop a link to the video that where I built those. I kind of give you guys a rundown of that. So here, there are just chains running up to the rafter, and then there is I want to say that's an over 2-inch long screw with a big 1 1/4 inch washer over top of it, which is the same thing that I used to secure in here. I'm not sure how well you can see here. Yeah. So that right there is another wood screw with that same 1 1/4 inch washer. I've got 3 on each of these cages. There's 6 in total in this cage because this is a double cage. So now all I have to do, well, one, I've got to figure out the mess with the floor because it is a mucky, muddy disaster. I think I'm going to have to put gravel down, which is okay. I don't mind gravel. That doesn't bother me at all. It's just another thing on the list to get done. Whew, but I'm very happy that this is finished. So I'm going to build a few hay racks, and then I think I may put dividers between where the bucks and the does are going to be. There's I plan on putting the bucks on the end over here. So 1 buck, 2 buck, and then that will be empty for now. And then the 2 adult does that I have are going to go right here. So I think I'm going to do a divider right there, and a divider right there. I got to figure out exactly how I want to do that because I want to maintain as much air circulation as possible. And I'm going to have to figure out a way to get some fans. I think I'm going to put them right here, or maybe I may also hang them from the rafters as well. I'm not quite sure yet. I'm going to have to play around with this. So, but I got everything finished today in terms of getting everything hung, and I just wanted to show you guys. So yeah, this has been Sam. Thanks. Wow, I am sweaty. It is hot and humid, and I'm sick, so please don't be offended at my sweat. I'm out here working in the heat. So this has been Sam with Harvey Cat Homestead. Thanks for tuning in with us and catching up with us, and I hope you have a great day. Bye, friends.